Hey, Kuchas, so welcome back. So day one, we talked about reprioritizing your health, right? Reshaping your mind frame and really setting that up. Yesterday, we just talked about how you can really master your morning, right? To plan ahead, but to really elevate your energy, which is significant, right? Your mental focus for the rest of the day. And then obviously it just really builds momentum because you do something as soon as you wake up that it's much easier to continue over the course of those days. Today, I want to talk about an eating protocol. Now listen, you and I, if you've been following me for quite some time, I am not anything pro-diet. I don't believe in the diet BS or the dogma. Intermittent fasting, it's different because intermittent fasting is an eating protocol. It's not a diet. I'm not telling you to lower your carbs, increase your fat, cut calories. I'm not telling you to do or take one specific supplement, remove one specific food group. All you're basically doing is you're time restricting when you actually eat. Now, like any diet, folks, if I was or any eating protocol, it's still the goal of the protocol is whatever that can actually make it consistent for you, make it really manageable and easy for you, and ideally, you still got to eat as good whole foods as you can, and then obviously sprinkle in, comfort foods, maybe a little bit of alcohol. I think the 80-20 rule certainly can work for people. But listen, you're a busy professional. Remember, that's what my clients are. I get it. So am I, because I'm my own client. I've been intermittent fasting for 2 years. Am I on it from January 1 to December 31st? No. I go through little seasons where I do go on it. And for me, with my just 2 young kids, right, it works if you have that busy morning, right? You're not necessarily hungry when you first wake up, or your morning is really, really busy. Well, yesterday, I would have talked about how you can kind of make your morning a little less hectic and busy so that, again, you can make the rest of your day work really well for you. But the reality is you do not need to have breakfast upon awakening. Now, if you have blood sugar issues, you're a diabetic, you're maybe breastfeeding, or you're pregnant, right? Some specific health concerns, that's a little bit different. Then I would say not to use intermittent fasting and obviously seek the guidance of another dietitian, nutritionist, or health professional. But with intermittent fasting is you're just shortening the amount of hours that you're eating, and you're increasing the amount of hours that you're not eating, which is your fasted window. And listen, folks, as you may know me, I'm a research buff. That's what I base my coaching on, my education, being certified kinesiologist. The reality is you've got to look at the health benefits of intermittent fasting. And again, is it for everybody? No. So I'm not here to say that this is for everybody. But I've had a lot of great success for those that just really had the morning being absolutely crazy, and they were eating at, say, 7 a.m., and they were eating all the way till, say, 8 or 9 p.m. So that's 13, 14 hours of eating. Your body's not set up to do that. Remember evolution, feast or famine. Our bodies can actually utilize stored fat. So when you overeat, which is probably it's one of the main reasons why people are overweight or obese, is because they are overeating. They're portion controlled, and they're eating obviously processed, right? High fat, high sugar, high salty foods. But with intermittent fasting, it kind of trains yourself to, say, I don't need food. Because I would argue that many of you probably are high stress, whether it's caused from your career, your job, or maybe your kids or life, it's COVID. And so you are also eating not when you're actually legitimately hungry, but you're also eating when you're bored, or certainly when you're eating when you're stressed. Think in the evening, glass of wine, bag of something, watching something to kind of chill. Well, you know what? You don't need to eat then. You know that. You know as you're eating it, it's like, why am I eating? I shouldn't be eating, right? So for me, you hear probably the things about how intermittent fasting can work, but it's great from longevity. You actually, once you get into a longer period of fast, and when I say longer period, I don't mean 24 hours, folks, okay? You can do them if you want. But to me, once you kind of get into that 15, 16 hours where you're not eating, then there's some significant health benefits really at even middle age, 40, 50, late 50s, where you're actually generating brand new cells. Right? So that's amazing for your health, okay? Forget fitness and weight loss. So with intermittent fasting, you can do it where you do it every other day, 5 and 2, 5 days during the week, and on the weekend you go back to your normal eating, or you can do it every day. It's very flexible. And what I always tell clients from a first period start is say, you got to track what you eat right now. So if you eat at 8 p.m. and you go to 8 p.m., well, that's 12 hours, right? What I would suggest is, hey, can you get it back an hour to 2 hours? So instead of starting at 8 a.m., can you push it to 9:30 or maybe even 10 a.m.? And you still eat to 8 p.m. But what happens is, because you have a less eating window, it does become hard, okay, to overeat more, okay? Because you have a shortened window. You have a hard start and you have a hard stop. And a lot of busy people love these kind of boundaries, if you will, okay? So you still got to eat protein, veggies as you can. Those are things that you should always have. But for my clients, I'm like, well, what's the path of least resistance? Should you take away food? Well, I got to give up my carbs. I got to give up on my pizza. I got to give up on my booze. It doesn't work after a week. So I'm like, what can we do more of? Well, maybe we can eat more veggies, more protein, right? But we just need to be a little bit more mindful and aware of your eating habits first, and then just knock it back. Can you get to a point where you might work towards an 8-16, which is 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of not eating? That's where the significant health benefits do come around. But that might take you literally a month or two to get to that point. So you can start really easy, right? And just bump your breakfast by an hour, or you can bump it right up to 12 p.m. if you're someone that you feel you can kind of do that, because it actually makes you really be aware of your hunger hormones. It helps to manage your blood sugars. Think insulin resistance, because if you're overweight or obese watching this, I would pretty well hardly argue that you probably have some degree of insulin resistance. Okay? It does make it harder to lose fat, and it's certainly easier to store fat. So intermittent fasting is a great tool in the toolbox that kind of guides you. And as you're going to see in the worksheet, you can state when you're going to start your meal and track when your first meal and then what your last meal time is. Again, of course you want to have whole foods. That goes without saying. But I wanted this, again, to be actionable. So just focus on maybe bumping up your first start time of the eating just by a little tiny bit, and see how your energy is, how your hunger signals are, and then ideally even what your results will be on a weekly basis. Okay? Start with that and then move from there. Hope this video, of course, has been great help to you.